For Crema Media's Polity, I'm Sane Dhlamini. Researcher and analyst Professor Raymond Suttner joins me to discuss democratic states crisis holds security dangers. Welcome, Professor.
Thank you.
You say the crisis of state and of the ANC are connected with one another, but not quite the same. How so?
Well, you know, you can solve a state problem or try to solve it by taking over a province. But that doesn't deal with the ANC. The ANC is an organization, and that's a separate question. So the ANC will have, as the ANC, to take up the question, do they dissolve all the structures in the Northwest Province? Do they try to rebuild branches? How do they do that? It's always difficult to do it from the national office because people, if the organization has branches, people at a local level must be involved. Now, some of those people at a local, regional, provincial level are responsible for the problem. So then who do you address the problem with? So it's very difficult.
Yeah,
it's separate from the task force which takes over government.
Talking about Northwest, you've also expressed concern that the ANC has said little about the deepening of the Northwest crisis, despite it being widely reported in the media. What do you think is the main cause of that?
Well, that was last week. They were not saying anything, possibly because they didn't know what to do, and then they came to a decision, which by about Saturday, Ramaphosa said that they are going to resolve this question. By Sunday, it was known that they were going to invoke Section 100 of the Constitution and take over running. Although the way they are taking over running, the MECs remain in place, although if they act, their departments are going to act under the authority of the national. So the quiet silence was maybe they didn't know what to do, they hadn't decided, and things like that. But I think it was a problem because it was getting worse and worse.
Yesterday, Cyril Ramaphosa went to KZN. Once again, another ANC member was killed. And he said he's requested a report from the task team that was tasked to look at the political killings. Why is it not easy to remedy the political killings, especially in KZN?
Well, it's very difficult. First of all, it's not just ANC. It was an IFP person who died in the last few days. It's difficult to do it because it appears they have zoomed in on the Glebelands hostel, but it seems to be connected. The same people who do taxi killing may be doing it, but it's never been easy to stop the killings, and it's especially difficult now because it's not as in the early 90s and the 1980s between IFP and ANC, where the leaders of the two organizations or their representatives could sit down, discuss how to deal with it. Now it's inside the ANC, and in my view, it's a battle over spoils, that the people who want to remove this one or remove that one are not wanting to remove them because they interpret the Freedom Charter differently. They want to remove them because if they want the Freedom Charter, they want it as a gold plate, and they want wealth. And from the council level upwards, where you may earn only 1,000 rands a month, you at least earn something towards survival, so that getting into positions is connected with survival, but at the top it's connected with big contracts. And I think this is the problem, in that the ANC as a whole has changed and it's become, maybe it did have a lot of these things before, but it's become, the scale has become huge, so that the consequences of losing office are high and people get killed.
I've noticed that most of the people that are killed in KZN are also associated with the Ramaphosa camp. Do you agree with some of the political analysts who are saying maybe that Jacob Zuma may have a hand in the killings, like his supporters?
Yeah, you know, if it's true, I don't know. If it's true that most of the people being killed are supporters of Ramaphosa, then the people who would gain from that are the supporters of Zuma. So it's likely that they would be connected with it, but I have no proof.
You also think that the ANC as an organization is ill-equipped now to solve the divisions that it faces. You're saying also that there used to be a time when the ANC will debate and discuss issues, but now we see a lot of like political assassinations instead. Why are they not doing like what they used to do before?
Well, you know, if they're busy shooting people, you can't say, no, hold fire. Hold fire. Let's go to the clause of the Freedom Charter that says the people shall govern. What I'm saying is the ANC has lost, it is no longer fired by enthusiasm for ideas, no matter what camp. It's not, the ones who are cleaning up are cleaning up. But they are not advancing a vision that is capturing the imagination of the majority of the people, or even the majority of the members. People are not engaging on that basis. They're saying, let's clean up. And that's one of the reasons why the Zuma supporters are resisting, because the cleanup will lead to some of them going to jail. Or at least it will cut off the sources of income, of the illegitimate income. So the ANC can't, on the one side, people are not interested in debates, they're interested in money. On the other side, they're interested in cleaning up. I wouldn't say they're indifferent to ideas, because very many of these people used to be very keen on it, but that culture of debate has more or less disappeared.
And the ANC government taking over Northwest, do you think it's going to solve the problems that are happening in Northwest?
I don't know. It's going to be, time will tell. These things are never easy. You know, when you go from the head of national government into a province, and you don't know all the things then, you've got to work with some people, and some people resist it, they don't like who you're working with. It's full of pitfalls, but it was correct, I think, to do it. However, it is going to be very difficult. Sometimes it's a bit like when the UN goes into some place. They often plan to be in for 6 months, but they're there for 6 years, and it's still not solved. South Africa's in parts of this continent to this day, and the things are not solved.
And lastly, Professor, we remember when President Cyril Ramaphosa took over from Jacob Zuma, a lot of South Africans had hope, especially when he spoke about the new dawn. Do you think the new dawn is failing?
Well, I'm not to use the word the new dawn myself, but I think that it would be very good if we could see a new dawn, but the new dawn must be primarily political. It can't be primarily technocratic. It must be technocratic in the sense that they must stop people from stealing, people must follow procedures, a number of things like that, but must also have political content where people believe in ideas which can bind them and can save our country from the multiple crises it now faces.
Thank you, Professor.
Thank you.
That was Professor Raymond Suttner speaking to Crema Media's Polity about whether democratic state crisis holds security dangers.